Find a way to play harder than your opponents and get your teammates to adopt that mentality.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
We are working so much harder just because we know that other people are playing, for however much that they're making. But we have to kind of match that intensity that you worked hard for this, you deserve this.
I'm Thomas Batties, a rising junior at Harvard.
I'm Ashley Chea. I'm a rising junior at Princeton.
I'm Vanessa de Jesus, a rising grad student at Notre Dame.
I'm Justin Huang. I'm an incoming freshman at Johns Hopkins.
I'm Weilun Zhao. I'm a freshman at USF.
My name is Sumayah Sugapong. I'm a junior at University of Arizona.
I just wanted to kind of start it off because we have a very diverse group, but we're all kind of representing just the AAPI Hooper realm, I guess. Can y'all share just kind of your cultural identity? What do you identify with in terms of ethnicity and culture? And then how has that kind of shaped you as you've navigated your basketball career?
Well, I feel like I grew up in a really unique environment. My parents are Chinese, but I was born in Italy and I grew up in Italy. So, I was lucky enough to grow up between two great cultures, and so my parents will teach me moral traditions and the values and morals of Chinese culture, but at the same time growing up in Italy, I had Italian friends. I went to school in Italy, so my education and that part of my life was more Italian. So I feel like I was just really blessed to grew up in such an environment. So
what's just side note, what's the coolest thing about Italy? Because I've never been. Even the way you say it is so cool. I'm it's Italy. I've been saying it wrong my whole life. I just say Italy. But it's Italy. I gotta say I had to relax. No, that's isn't that how people, that's the right way to say it? I'm assuming you say it correct.
I always have to change how I say it in English because they never understand that.
But what's the coolest part about now I'm insecure. I'm do I say Italy or Italy?
But obviously the food, I feel like everybody knows about Italian food, and just it's such a long history and culture of food, and people are really, really proud of that in Italy. So that's probably the main part. And then just the people, and usually they're really welcoming, and we just a family environment. And also other than that, just the history of it, it has so many centuries of just history. So it's just a great culture too.
That's awesome. I gotta go one day for sure. And you too.
I identify as Filipino American, but even though I grew up in the States and I've never really been to the Philippines, unless I was I was 5 the first time I went to the Philippines. But my family was still really big growing up in the States. All my cousins just live a mile away from each other. So every weekend we'd come together. So that Filipino culture of playing poker, just having meals together, just spending time with my lolas and titas was still very prevalent despite living in the States.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard the Filipino family gatherings are a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, the karaoke, and it gets really competitive, especially.
The karaoke gets competitive?
Yeah.
Can you explain that to me? How?
The best scores, on the, what's it called? Sing karaoke, you know what I'm talking about? Sing karaoke? They have the 90s or all that. Yeah.
How did they score? They score based off of what? How good it sounds?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you're hitting the notes or something?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So what's your career high? Was it 1 to 100 or something?
I probably a Rihanna song and get 95. Oh. if I on a good day.
Hey, that's how we're gonna end this podcast.
I know.
Get the Rihanna song queued up. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
I also identify as I'm 100% Filipino. Kind of core memory growing up was going to my grandparents' house and watching Pacquiao fights. We would have family come in from out of town, and it was just always cool. It was Filipinos around the world, or Manny Pacquiao's fight is on, everyone's stupid and watching it. So that was a core memory of mine growing up. Yeah.
Have you ever scored higher than 95 in one of your performances?
Can't say I'm hit 95. Yeah, I think she has repeat. She has repeat.
I'm Cambodian. Both of my parents are immigrants from Cambodia. So, I mean, I feel like I haven't really like met that many other Cambodian people. I think probably met like 3 or 4. So it's like I was in an area with not that many people that were like the same ethnicity as me. So it was like kind of hard. But I mean, I was surrounded by other Asians. So it was like I was around people that looked like me. So it wasn't like super tough growing up in that.
Gotcha.
For sure. I'm Chinese American. I was born in America, but my parents both immigrated from China as well. And growing up, I used to always make dumplings with my grandma. She has a secret recipe. She won't tell me what it is, but it's the best dumplings I've ever had in my life. So we used to make those dumplings. We still do pretty much every weekend together, and then we always spend time as a family and play cards. So.
And she still doesn't tell you the recipe? Like if
There's like one secret ingredient in there that she won't tell me.
You kept asking, you don't think she would break?
Nah. Hasn't cracked yet.
I'd be like, I'd be like,
Like,
you gotta tell me, what's the secret ingredient? Dang, I'm intrigued now, but that's awesome. You still do that now too?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
So I'm Filipino and Black, and I feel like I was kind of raised that way. You know, my mom's family, my mom is Filipino, and her whole family was in the Bay Area. But I grew up in DC, but we still kept like a lot of the culture alive, even though we were separate from the rest of the family. You know, I grew up with doing karaoke, like with the family in the house. You know, I always had lumpia, pancit, chicken adobo, growing up. And, you know, whenever like my Lola would come to the house, you know, they always cook their dishes, stuff like that. But basketball is actually one of the ways that helped me maintain the cultures and the culture and the traditions that we had. You know, when I got older, I found a Filipino American basketball like organization that was local to me. So I played with them, and they kind of became like an extension of my Filipino family, you know, in DC.
You had to be a lot taller than everybody in that league, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like,
I got a lot of he's not Pinoy allegations.
Allegation.
that's hilarious. You know, there's some that we talked about that, you know, in the previous conversation. We talked about NIL and the transfer portal. And that's something that's new. You know, when I was in college, we were far from that. I'm just very curious. I just want to learn more about it because it is newer. Like, what are your all's thoughts on NIL, the money, the transfer, not having to sit out a year, or any of that? Like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Or like, what's the good? What's the bad? Or how are you navigating it? Any of those, like, just kind of talking about that, because I also think that's a very relevant conversation now. And there's a lot of upcoming Coopers who will listen to this and also draw a lot of inspiration or good advice from you all as well. But Jeb, definitely take any hot takes are more than welcome to or any advice, anything.
Yeah, I guess for me, because since I just transferred to a new school, it was obviously a very like unknown space for myself, and I think a big thing that helped me was trying to figure out what was important to me. Again, it always like rooted back to like my love for the game and not like the money, which some people know depends on your situation, but I think it's really important to just have that mindset going in of like what you really want to look for, and talking to the coaches, like seeing those relationships, because at the end of the day, it's the people you're around. So for me, a big thing was like the people, and kind of just taking my time and not getting blinded by like all like the shiny things that people sometimes get distracted about, because those things can go away. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to be at a place for however long that is. So you got to make sure it's like the right place for you. So I think there could be good and bad to it, but I think having the right guidance, and again, like talking to your core people who can really like help you navigate that is important.
Nice. That's awesome.
For me, I'm a freshman, so I don't really.
Yeah, so you don't get to talk. So we're gonna. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, go ahead.
So obviously, I'm not really familiar with it, but you know, also when I was in Italy, I saw like that all the new stuff was coming in and introduced. Like, it just gave definitely more value. Like, you see a lot of European players there are going to college in the US, probably mostly because of NIL. But for me, it was really just because last year I was at OT, and so it was just a natural process to get to college, and it was for me just a decision more based on basketball rather than just money or things like that. So, but it's definitely a great thing to have. I mean, getting paid to do what you love is priceless. So, but as long as you just keep the main thing, and remember that you're there to play basketball and not other things, I feel like they just added back to it for your gym.
Talia actually had a great, because I know earlier when I spoke, I was like, oh, always choose the best fit over kind of what the salary would be. But she was also like, oh, well, there's people with a lot of different financial pressures. And I was like, you know what? That is a whole different, that is a very real thing. And so it's not always that clean. But she had a great counterpoint to kind of what I had said earlier of just like, man, not everybody's going to have the luxury. Sometimes you got to make a decision or you got to figure it out right now. So, that was a great take on her side of what she said, but definitely hearing what you're saying as well, in terms of just keeping the main thing. Yeah, very curious to hear what other people think as well.
I think that it's a blessing just because I having known people that have been in the transfer portal, some of them just, I feel like in the past few years people just don't get that chance to find a school that is the best fit for them. So I feel like just now that it's just it's the largest thing in college basketball right now, and so I'm just so happy that my friends can go to a school that they're happy at, they can be the best that they can be for for the team and just for themselves, for sure. But yeah, I think it's for sure a blessing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think it does more net good than bad. There's a lot of stuff going on with how they pay players and stuff like that. It makes it look kind of out of control, and you kind of it's turned into a thing where it's not only the players in the portal after a good season, it feels like the coaches are too. Any coach at a mid-major school that has a good run, even if they're not in mid-major schools, they may up and leave right after that. So it's very complicated when you put this much money on the table, but I think everything is so subjective, and there's so many different situations that people are put in, because you have people from all walks of life playing college basketball or college sports in general. So it's hard to even judge without knowing a lot of details. And I think a lot of people get wrapped up in a lot of the scrutiny and negative energy that the transfer portal and NIL brings. But overall, the ability to get a lot of these athletes in the right situations and get them a lot of money, especially when they're financially compromised or deal with financial struggles at home, that's priceless.
And I should probably know this, but I genuinely don't. Does the Ivy League still not give athletic scholarships, or what's the situation with the Ivy League?
Yeah, no athletic scholarships.
But you could make money to then pay for the tuition, essentially.
I think that it caps off at a certain amount. I'm not 100% sure, but then the last time that we talked about it, it was you can make $10K.
So the rules are still even somewhat changing or in flux year to year sometimes.
I mean, at least at Princeton,
I didn't even bother looking into the full details, because it was just I know that the opportunity is pretty limited here regardless.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
But most of the stuff anyways is you just get material goods. You don't really get any monetary gain out of it.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember when I was at Harvard, they're let's go to eat. I'm all right. And they're yeah, I can't pay for your food. I'm I don't want you to do that. I can't pay for your food. You're gonna lose your eligibility. I'm man, I'm just getting a sandwich. But no. What do y'all think about?
Adding on to the Ivy League thing, at Johns Hopkins, we're a Division III school, so we have pretty much no NIL at all. So I think there's definitely good and bad of the transfer portal and NIL money here and there. But overall, I think a cool aspect of Johns Hopkins is that because if there's no NIL, people come to Hopkins because they want to be at Hopkins. So that kind of sustains a good culture, because kids don't come here and have the idea of, hey, I'm going to transfer out and get more money, because you're coming to Hopkins to get a good education and to be part of a winning culture and be a band of brothers for 4 years. So I think that's a kind of a cool thing about Hopkins.
Oh, nice. no pressures.
No, yeah, I think definitely doesn't work good than bad. I also just came out of the portal, so it was like stressful. You know, I had no idea really what I was getting into. So like when I'm on the phone with coaches and they're like, "Oh, so like what's your number? Like what's gonna get you here?" And I like, didn't have an answer because coming from UCSD, we didn't like NIL was not big at all. So it's just for your coaches to like ask that question flat out was like, it like took me back because like that wasn't my like first thought when I'm, you know, talking to this new school. That surprised me when I was in the portal. But I think it's really cool that, you know, we work really hard as college athletes, you know, train hard like 10 months out of the whole year with the school. And then, you know, we train hard off season. So to be able to be like compensated for that, it's like people recognize our hard work. So it's really cool to have that opportunity. And
So, and then are there rules on like recruiting or like all through the season, other teams' coaches can just be hitting you up, or there's no regulations on?
I think like they can't talk to you right until you're like in the portal.
yeah, you're not allowed to talk to like anyone from the school unless you're like fully in the portal. But like people go like talk to coaches through like a different person. So there's like loopholes to that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Also curious, I mean, everybody here is considered for sure Gen Z, right? I'm like getting my generations right. For sure Gen Z. How do you all feel about like social media too? Because social media is what's your relationship with it? Is it all great? Is it all bad? Is it in between? Even with NIL now, it's getting, it serves as a different vehicle too, you know, like, you know, being able to, you have to use it well or use it to be able to do certain things.
I think it's done a lot of good. It provides us with like so many opportunities. A lot of like NIL stuff that people sign. It's just like do a couple posts on your Instagram and that's what you're getting paid for. So it's like, how can you complain? So I think there's a lot of good opportunities that come out of it. But I think depending on your situation, like you're at a high level school, you get a lot of media attention and that can be bad at some points. But I think a lot of times any publicity is good. So just, it's a good way to put yourself out there. And I mean, so many like endless opportunities could come out of it. So yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, like I do have like a positive relationship with it, but like she said, like there's so many opportunities and just did a lot of good, but also as you said earlier too, like especially the more attention you get and the more, you know, fans or like people watching you, like there's gonna be people that are gonna say their opinion and there's not gonna be like positive. So I just feel like we have to be just careful with it and just know like kind of the boundaries and what you want to do with it. Because also, like, I think we all know like how much time it can take away from just for a day. Like, time goes really fast on social media. So that can be like a thing that works against you too. But there's definitely so much stuff that can help you through social media. And so I just feel like it's just understanding where the danger is and just being aware and seeing the difference.
Ashley, you look like you had something to say.
Okay.
Was that an incorrect read?
Like ish. Or
Oh shoot! My bad. No, all right. We'll swing it to someone else.
no, but I mean I can whatever it's. I feel like what Wei said, like you can get so locked into like social media. I just feel like people just have to find a way to just not abuse it. You know, I feel like people, if you're on it, people chase the views and they don't really like see what what other people are for themselves. And I feel like that's the kind of like loophole that people get stuck in. So I don't know. I don't love it, but I also don't hate it at the same time. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with social media like that for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of similar to like, I feel like nowadays it's part of like the game. Like you have to be kind of locked into that space because like it's more than just basketball. It's like branding yourself and like all of that in the NIL space. So even if you're not like super into it, you kind of have to still be part of it. So for me, it's trying to figure that out. But I had a question, like if you were in our Gen Z time, would you be doing TikTok dances and stuff, or like?
Well, I didn't have a choice. I did a TikTok dance today, and I had. I would say, like, honestly, I probably would, because I went through a phase even when I was younger in the NBA. Like, I was making YouTube videos and comedic skits and different things, and I look back, and there's a lot of cringe when I watch this. I'm like, oh man. But then I'm also like, dude, I was like the first NBA player who like consistently had a YouTube channel. I had like the highest impact on YouTube for like years and years and years of all NBA players. And that was something new that we wanted to try to do. And that was something that I could really engage and connect with my fans with. So I don't regret it. Actually, I see it as great. And then also it showed my personality, because people think like, okay, like you're Christian, you're Asian, you went to Harvard. Somebody said to me, they're like, I was like talking about like whatever, I love playing video games. Sometimes, you know, in college I used to play until the sun came up. Like it was bad. Like I was highly addicted to Halo 3. And I remember people were like, you play video games? I thought you were like, you know, I thought you read books all day. And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't read my first book like that I wasn't forced to until like my late 20s. And so it's just very interesting because people will come to, again, it's about kind of controlling the narrative, or just at least like, let me share more of who I am with the world versus having people guess, and just realizing that like, just off of very limited information, people will think something of you. And then there's also a genuine like funness to it. It gets a lot less fun as you kind of get older. Like I'm married with kids now, and so, or with a kid, so I'm not like looking at the newest trend. Like I learned what Riz meant the other day, and then I forgot. I literally learned what Riz, had a streamer teach coming out, and then I forgot. I was like, what is Riz again? It sounds like a Slurpee flavor. Like, I don't know what this is, what's going on here. But I think it's just like, man, it's fun. It's honestly, it's fun. You just have to know how to balance it. And different seasons of your life, you'll be able to have more time to tap into it, and other seasons, like, you won't. So I kind of ebb and flow with it too. That's why I like to have different rhythms and have different boundaries around it as well. But definitely it's done a lot of good for me as well.
Can I say for the record that I remember watching those YouTube skits and stuff like that, like as a kid. I appreciate them. But I think what you guys said about social media, like having a love-hate relationship with it, I think that's a good way to put it. The way I describe it, and it's like hard to even know where to start with social media, but like the thing I always say is that the biggest perk and the biggest downside of social media is that anybody and everybody can go on there and express themselves however they want. And I think that's beautiful, because you can find mediums like a podcast where, you know, like you may not want to do TikToks at 30 something years old, but you can have stuff like this. You can sit down and talk to people, and, you know, kind of express yourself and inform people the way you want to. But then you get like the downside of it is that anybody can, you know, go on this video and say whatever on earth they want to say about us or whatever we're doing. So
sounds like there's a lot of love-hate, but also a lot of positive too, right? And I think that's probably where I would stand. How about you? Are you active on social?
I would say that there's also a two-way street for social media. I'd say there's a lot of benefits for athletes, especially because you can build your own brand. Your people's lives can change overnight from one viral dunk or like one viral like meme or something like that. But the downside for younger athletes especially is what you mentioned earlier, is like comparison is a thief of joy. Like certain younger kids can be 10th grade, 11th grade, like seeing that other kids are getting offers, but they're not. And they're like starting to get demotivated and thinking like, what am I doing wrong? But it's like, you have to run your own race at your own pace, and knowing that your hard work will pay off in due time. So I feel like comparison, like on social media, is a big thing, and it negatively impacts a lot of younger athletes.
Yeah, speaking of viral clips, you got to put that dunk on there. That was a nice shot.
Thanks.
I don't even think only there were any.
We were up there,
but you didn't see it, right?
But we just heard screaming in the video. We missed it. We didn't see it.
Yeah, all of a sudden I see Wade just running across the court. I'm like, hey, you're next in the drill, bro. What are you doing?
And both of them were hyped for you, man.
Yeah, no, everybody was hyped.
Bro.
It caught me by surprise. That was crazy. That was crazy.
I think we have to stop romanticizing so much. Like, we romanticize everything on social media, and that's what causes a lot of this comparison. Like, people having these sort of like parasocial relationships, like getting attached to like celebrities or a certain image and stuff like that. And I think when we document struggles and certain obstacles we go through on social media, I think that's a healthier, way to put out this stuff. And I think if if those who are comfortable with it can, look back on the stories, on their stories and, how they built up to where they are right now, and people, and they make that more accessible to people, I think that's what would help people to have a healthier relationship with like people they look up to on social media.
Yeah, because nobody likes to put like the bad stuff on social media. Nobody just likes to put like, whether it's, I don't know, a bad picture or a bad game, like they obviously don't want to post it, but that kind of what makes it like everybody's image looks perfect. So that's one of the, as you said, like, that's one of the dangers. So I do have a question about college. That's for everybody, even Jamie, like once you all started like getting involved in NIL or salary and stuff like that, like how do y'all approach that financially, and like how do y'all manage that pretty much?
I think it's like you have to like find a balance, like what we're talking about, how we're keeping the main thing, like you're there for basketball, so that shouldn't be like at the top of the priority list, but at the same time, like knowing your value and like just knowing that like you worked hard to get to that point and like you deserve what's coming to you in that position. So just a balance between staying focused and humble, but at the same time knowing your value or like that you worked hard for this and like you deserve this.
I mean, your relationship with money, especially with as you graduate, become a pro or NIL or whatever it is, I feel like it's important to, on one side, set aside the things that matter to you. I've noticed that if I set aside a percentage or an amount for this, like, it's nice because like, I'm like, for example, I have a certain amount where it's like, I want to try to be able to just do random acts of kindness with this money that's been set aside. It gives me the accountability of like, hey, am I still doing these things? I'm looking out for these things. Or am I supporting different people who might need, who are trying to do something great for the world or for themselves or for their family, like, and have an opportunity to do that. So actually just setting aside that amount actually helps me in executing on that. Another thing I think that's really important on the financial literacy side is set goals, like make goals. What are your top goals? Is it like, I want to pay back my tuition ASAP? Is it, I'm trying to get, I want to have a house, or I have a project. I want to build a court in my home country, or I really want to take care of my parents, or whatever it is. Like, I got a sibling that's going through school and has tuition, whatever those goals are, set those all out, write those all out, and you'll be able to find people, professionals who can help you actually get there. And it's so much easier when you set those goals and you work with somebody who has seen it happen and knows how to actually help you get there. That's been a huge thing for me, because I graduated with an economics degree at Harvard and I do not remember anything. I used none of it. I remember like the supply and demand curve, and that's like, and I'm like, man, I forgot everything, like just because you're right into hoops. And so really just being able to find professionals and then just be very clear about what you're trying to accomplish. Otherwise you end up just kind of whatever I feel today I'm gonna spend on, or and you don't really have a plan.
So we have someone that kind of takes care of like numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely. I have like a team that helps with the finances, and then I have my business team overseeing that. So if they're trying to screw me and I'm not, and whatever, I have accountability people watching who do that too. That's important. Yeah, I'm also kind of curious to ask the women, how has women's basketball and women's hoops, like, how have you felt? Have you felt a difference? And actually even the men as well. Like, as you've seen women's basketball like go through what it's gone through the last few years, what has your perspective been? And even for us going to a school that is predominantly all women's Ivy League championships, like, so when I was there, it was like the women's banners, men's banners, but just very curious on like how has the rise of women's basketball kind of affected you all, and what's it been like being a part of seeing all that happen?
I personally can feel like I feel like the way that we play against each other, like even in practice, I just feel like we are working so much harder just because like we know that other people are playing, like for like however much that they're making, but like we have to like kind of match that intensity. So I feel that intensity built like every single day that we play. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, and just overall it's exciting. I remember when I first started college, like the idea of playing W was hard because first off there's only like 12 teams and 12 spots, so the opportunity there with the vets already there and then imports coming in from like all over the world, it's it's a very slim chance. But now seeing 2 more teams come in next year and then the following year another team and another team, I think it's just showing how much the game is growing, and that's really exciting because I feel like we're always I think world basketball is fun to watch, but I think now with big names like Caitlin Clark, all those like big people names kind of bringing more of the spotlight to it, it's gonna really help the game, and I think for us, like a lot of us will benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's been awesome seeing like the viewership like on these games like shoot up. Like, I think it's well deserved. I do think like we put a good brand out there that's like exciting to watch. Yeah. Oh yeah, what you were talking about how the W is like, it's like it seems like so hard to get to, but the adding of teams and even more like leagues and opportunities overseas, like I just think it's cool the opportunities that have come up and you're able to really like make a living and still play. I think it's been really good. Yeah,
I just feel like it's like super exciting to see like the stands actually being filled up. Like I feel like if we watch the the men's game, like we're like, hey, like where are all of our fans? And we're like, oh shoot, like there's actually people coming to watch us play basketball. Like it's like it is so much more fun. Like I'm not saying that like we're playing for the fans, but it's so much fun playing in front of thousands of people. So I just feel like playing.
Don't worry, I know my not my rookie year, my freshman year at Harvard, we had like a whopping attendance of like 50 people, and I had like my cousin and then I had my 2 cousins come, and I could find them very easily. It's just a whole bunch of empty seats. There they are. Like I would literally have a conversation with them in the middle of the game. Like that's how few people came. So I know I understand. I understand when it gets filled, it's like it's hyped. It's fun. Yeah. Did y'all have any other questions for each other or anything? Any topics that you think would you want to dive into?
how is basketball different from like Europe to here?
I feel like it's definitely different. It's like it doesn't mean that Europeans can't play in the US or the other way. Like, you see a lot of European players playing in the US and a lot of Americans that go play overseas in Asia or stuff like that. So, we all still play the same game, but at least how I grew up playing basketball, like it was definitely a lot less like individual training. We didn't have like personal trainers, that we didn't work on like ball and anything like that. But at least for me, since I was little, I had really great coaches that just we're trying to teach us how to play the right way. So how to use space on the court, how to play with each other. Just we didn't start using pick and rolls until I was like 15 or something. So like it's a different system, but I feel like both have their advantages. Obviously, like the system in the US is clearly working because obviously the NBA, high school, college, like those are really, really high level places. But I would say it's just the way they teach basketball is just different. And so, yeah, I would say that's it.
For like those guys in college, do you guys ever have like a welcome to college moment? And then I guess like what was your like welcome to like the NBA moment?
I got to tell my embarrassing story again. They asked me that in the other one too. So y'all answer first. I'll go after. Welcome to college moments. Well, you two not yet. But any other welcome to college moments for the other four?
Well, this happened like the first second that I stepped foot on the court, like in a game. I went up for a layup. I got it smacked, and and I was just like, okay, like I can't attack the basket anymore. Like I suck. But that same game, I got blown by I forgot who like we were playing, but I got blown by, and then my coach was like, what was going on? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened. I was trying my best, and then she just blew by me. I was like, I don't know, I'm sorry. But I don't know, I just feel like that first game, everyone is just faster. They're quicker, they're bigger than me. I feel like I'm like the smallest in the Ivy League, so it was always like going to be hard for me, but that for sure was definitely like, hey, like I need to step up my game for sure. Yeah.
I don't think you had any moments.
Really?
Even like even in practice or like a practice.
All right.
Like
My fault.
I say mine was similar to yours. Like I crossed this girl, like I got like a little hezzy, and then I went by her, and this like big like 6-foot girl like came over and like swatted my shot, and then yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
I got dunked on a lob that I barely even saw. It was a little cross screen, like right in front of the basket. A little brush screen. He comes off. They're throwing it from like right here out of bounds. They're directly to him. I couldn't even like get up to try and swat it. It was over. But that's the funny one that like my friends give me crap for. Before that, we played Boston College, and like that was the first high major team we had played, and the speed was just different. It was and we were coming off the second leg of a back-to-back, or that was the second leg of a back-to-back. So you came out there if everything wasn't like super perfect and like, very sharp, then, kind of just got dusted out there. Yeah.
I mean, there definitely is. I just can't remember. But I mean, my first college game, just definitely like what you're talking about. It's like jittery, just like super nervous. And yeah, just like the speed and physicality was like definitely took me a minute to adjust to. At like 17, playing against like 23-year-olds, so it's like definitely there's a noticeable difference. So it took me a minute to adjust, but yeah.
How does it feel knowing that you're like the role model and inspiration to like millions of Asian athletes around the world?
Woo. That's what it feels like. We'll be here honestly 30 minutes. Truthfully, I try not to think about it like that. I really truly try not to think about it like that. I just try to have fun with it and be authentic. I think the word authentic is very, I don't mean authentic meaning you share everything. Like there's many things that I love that nobody knows about, or like nobody knows about, my family. They know I have a family, but they don't know, and there's certain things that I love doing that I don't ever post about. So I'm saying, but the things that I do post about, or the things that I do share with the world, and And the way that I try to handle the role model platform is I don't try to be fake. So that doesn't mean I'm entitled to share everything with the world, but the things I do share, just try to make them real. The other thing that I really try to do is I just try to be vulnerable. I share a lot about my struggles. I share a lot about the anxiety that I have. I share about a lot of the trials that I have. I'm willing to talk about that. And I've realized that people care a lot more about your failures, and they can relate to that a lot more than they can your success. Like, how many people people love Steph and LeBron, but how many people in their day-to-day can be like, I totally get what he's going through. Very few. But for my story, that not to say that they don't have their trials and tribulations, but they're so good, and they've had so much success. But for me, I just try to be really honest about on both sides when things go well and things don't. And I just realized that if you just try to stay authentic and vulnerable, whatever is supposed to happen will happen, and whatever impact you're supposed to have will happen, and I don't have to think too hard about it.
I have one more. What's your favorite all-time moment in your NBA career?
Favorite all-time moment from NBA career, I gotta say, okay, the obvious is that first breakout game, because I had already been cut twice. I had been sleeping on a couch for 6 weeks. Actually, Patricia's my sister-in-law, and she was married to my older brother, and I was sleeping on their couch.
Oh no.
And so just that type of man, they can't cut me now is it's one of a kind. So I gotta go with that. Yeah, I gotta go with that. And then honestly, when I think back on my career, I actually another top moment is winning a championship with my little brother, or winning 2 championships with my little brother, and having both of my parents there, and having my wife there as well. You never thought you'd win it with your family. That's crazy. I saw that little kid grow up. That's a little kid who used to eat my snacks and delete my Pokemon game on my Game Boy. That's and it's man, we did it. And so just it's not an NBA moment, but just being able to enjoy professional basketball with your family, and that's crazy. It's crazy. I can't really describe it. Yeah.
I got one more if we got time. So a lot of the stuff we talked about is how to attack the game mentally, and you gave us all these strategies, and you've been through multiple years of sports psychology and stuff like that. But what was your approach, when the mental aspect of your game wasn't as fine-tuned and sharpened? How did you approach the game back in college? If you were in my shoes, what was kind of the mentality you were bringing to the game?
I think a lot of it comes with being the underdog. Is I thrived in that position. And so my mentality was just shoot for the stars. Who cares? There's no pressure. It's hard when people expect a lot out of you. That's when it gets really hard. It's hard. It's easier to shock people or to get to the top one time. It's harder to stay. And when everyone's coming for you and there's a target on your back, that's a whole different mentality. But when I was in college, I was just man, nobody's picking us to win the Ivy League. It's only the women win the championships around here. I have nothing to lose, so I'm just going. I'm free. I'm hooping. And that was the mentality. But I would also say I would say that I had a strong chip on my shoulder, knowing that I didn't look like everybody else. It gave me a deep, and I wouldn't suggest this, but I played with a lot of anger. I wanted to go to Stanford so bad, and they were lying to me, and they didn't give me a scholarship and whatever, that for the first 2-3 years, my computer that I had that I used for school, every day when I logged in or did my homework, the desktop was a huge blow up of the Stanford head coach's face. And that was like, and every day I'd just be staring at his ugly old face. Sorry, and I'm not saying he's ugly, but I'm saying his big old blown up face. And I'm just like, and that type of anger that I felt of just like, he disrespected me. I was, you know, California Player of the Year. I won a state championship. How am I not gonna get any scholarships? Like, this is wild. Like, I play with that type of chip on my shoulder and that anger. And I wouldn't say that was the best either. It helped me get better and motivated me, but having something even deeper, like a joy for my teammates, a joy for the game. I think like, you know, that's what I would suggest. And I guess like that's how it relates to me. But one thing I would say for you, especially because like I know Amaker as well, and I know a little bit more about the organization, my approach would be like, yo, we're gonna be dogs out there. Like nobody comes through and plays Harvard and it isn't like, man, I had to go work for everything I got. And it just like hang your hat on being like, yo, we're gonna be the most blue collar, hardworking, getting loose balls, getting rebounds, blocking out, playing with physicality. Like we're gonna be a nightmare to play against. And if you bring that like mentality, just like if you just want it more, I'm not, you know, like people say like play hard. Like I don't know, it's like, but if the other team's playing hard too, like I'm saying play harder. Like that's the mentality I'll come in. Is like whatever they're at, if they're at like 9.5 out of 10, you gotta be at 9.8. Like you like find a way to play harder than your opponents and get your teammates to like adopt that mentality, and you'll go a lot further than maybe you expected. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. A bunch of awesome athletes. Can't wait to see you all have very bright futures. Thanks again for joining me.